Did you ever wonder what it would be like to be one of the last people on Earth?
We're talking Ghost Town!
Who would you see?
There's nobody. There's nobody.
What would you do?
Hey, I'm sorry if the end of the world makes me a little nervous.
Where would you go?
The stars are up and...
Well, get ready to find out, because the Comet is coming into your orbit.
The legal drinking age is now 10, but you will need ID. Let's be real.
It's the night of the Comet.
What do you give me if I come back?
Texas?
Night of the Comet.
I'll be taking requests from all you teenage Comet zombies.
The night the teenagers ruled the world.
Yeah!
Night of the Comet.
The garden of civilization is on us.
Fiction, isn't it?
Welcome back to the show, everyone.
Welcome back. It's October. First episode of October.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been waiting to do this movie for a while.
Yeah.
I've loved this movie for a lot of years, and we finally get to talk
good
about
one.
it. Listeners, my name's Pete.
And I'm Scott, and these are the movies that made us gay.
Absolutely.
Welcome to October. It's an all-genre spooky lineup for October. I mean, I guess this movie is technically a Christmas movie, but, I mean, it has...
Who's counting?
It has zombies in it, so...
Yeah.
I think it classifies as an October movie.
Yeah. It's got an apocalyptic comet. It's got zombies. It's got the Sherman Oaks Galleria. Let's do this, man.
But, welcome back to the show, Rudy Bleu.
Yes, Rudy, welcome back to the show.
So, we watched Night of the Comet, directed by Tom Eberhardt, released November 16th, 1984.
Yes, indeed.
I was 6 years old.
Cheer. You were 6 years old when this came out?
Wow.
Did you see it in the theater?
I did not see it in the theater.
Neither did I, unfortunately. I mean, we're going to talk about where we first saw this movie. This movie is wild, but, I mean, there's so much going on.
I feel like this movie, too, within the past, 10 years, has really been, reassessed in circulation more. I think this is a movie that really benefited from streaming, being on streaming platforms like Prime. We watched it on Tubi because of course this movie is on Tubi.
Right.
It is a perfect Tubi movie for a Saturday night.
Well, I mean, I think it's had a cult following long before streaming.
And also, there was a big Shout Factory disc of this.
Right.
That is where I watched it. We rented this movie from Videotheque.
Did we?
I had never
right.
seen this before.
Okay, that was a couple years ago.
Our video store did not have this movie. I don't ever remember looking at the box to this. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's kind of a movie that I've discovered probably through you.
Through me, yeah.
Do you guys have first memories of watching this movie?
Yes, but really quickly, in reference to the box of the movie.
Yeah.
Like the original cover art, if I would have seen that, I don't know if I would have rented it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But then they updated the cover art when they did the DVD release.
Yep.
And that is way more appealing. But anyway.
and it's Catherine on the motorcycle.
Yeah,
and
they've done two different versions. Like the Blu-ray version, I think, is a motorcycle one. And then the regular DVD version that first came out is just the both women in the front.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the first time I saw this film was at home, and it was on a VHS tape. That's
right.
So my brother-in-law had cable. He wasn't my brother-in-law at the time. He was my sister's boyfriend at the time. And he had cable, and his brother would record everything from cable. And they literally in their living room had a bookcase full of VHS tapes, and they were all labeled. They had typewriter labels on them, and I would go over and be like, can I borrow a movie? And then they'd be like, sure. And each tape had 3 movies on it.
Always.
Or whatever.
What were some of your favorite triple features from the wall of movies?
I used to watch Bachelor Party a lot.
We love Bachelor Party in this household.
Oh my God. That movie is
Well, I think we can eventually get to Bachelor Party. There's quite a few scenes that us gays can latch onto in that movie.
Bachelor Party, Revenge of the Nerds.
Mm-hmm.
Night of the Comet was one.
Yeah.
There was like Class of 1984.
Love it.
I just watched that recently. I had never
wild.
seen it.
I have
Yep.
such a fondness for the artwork for that movie in my childhood. But yeah, there was just a lot, and a lot of movies I probably shouldn't have been seeing.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely.
And like I would borrow them, and then I'd watch them with like the boys on the street, not on the street, like the neighborhood guys
Yeah.
that were my age.
The
We'd
neighborhood
all-
kids.
We
Yeah.
would all watch
Yep.
it and be like, "Oh my God, there's tits in this one," you know, like
There's a male stripper scene in Bachelor Party. Oh, wait.
oh yeah. The hot dog scene in Bachelor
Yep.
Party.
Bachelor Party is crazy. I mean, we have not covered it on the show. I'm
Yeah.
sure we will in the future. There's the whole hot dog thing. There's male strippers. There is like full lady frontal nudity.
Yeah.
Like that
80s
movie is
a good 80s drag
wild.
queen.
Yeah. It's 80s drag queen. Like,
Yeah.
oh my
so,
goodness.
Yeah, there was just, and so
I remember those times of watching movies we had no business watching.
Yeah, and I think Night of the Comet was just on one of those, and I
Yeah.
remember watching it. And the scenes, honestly, that I first remember like standing out was when Hector, right? That's his name.
Yeah.
Hector goes home, and the little zombie kid comes
Sure.
after him. But then watching it as an adult, I realized Hector's going home to like East LA or
Yeah.
some Latino
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
And
It's kind of a bummer of a scene, too.
It's a little white kid.
yeah, exactly. And it's like a little white kid who's
doing
peering
in
through
this
the
house?
Yeah, and I'm like, what? But it's very funny. I don't know if you noticed the Feliz Navidad record.
Yes, I
and
did,
then
yeah.
like the music changes and has like a Latin tempo to
Yeah.
it during that scene with the zombie kid.
Yeah.
It's just-
When it's like a little mini chase. Yeah, I did notice.
but
that.
yeah, I remember that, and I remember what's her name? Why can't I just watch this and I can't even remember her name?
Dark hair or
The
blonde hair?
blonde hair.
Kelly Maroney.
Catherine. Catherine. Oh,
Kelly
sure.
Maroney.
Callie
Kelly
Maroney.
Maroney.
Just like watching her in her cheerleader outfit and like, yeah. I mean, we could get into
Super
a lot of
fierce.
stuff, but that's kind of my first memory. Just like I wanted to be them. You know, I wanted to be the two sisters.
Yes.
who
Yeah,
look
absolutely.
nothing alike.
No.
And have different hair color.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just like that scene where they're at the mall. I was like, this is
Yeah.
when the world ends.
That's
This is
the
what
dream.
I want.
Yeah, that's the dream. I have a memory of watching this in school.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
interesting.
And I specifically remember sitting next to Marissa Gonzalez in class. And so I think it was third grade.
Wow.
8 years old. Because I sat next to Marissa Gonzalez in class and we used to talk all the time and constantly get in trouble and constantly get separated. And Marissa Gonzalez is a lesbian now. Hey, Marissa. And that's why we got along so well. But I remember her being very like, kind of like, she would say stuff that would kind of be like shocking, like, what? And the reason I remember sitting next to her is because there's the scene at the very beginning of the movie where Reggie, played by Catherine Mary Stewart, it's the morning after the Comet. They just spent the night in the
movie
projector
theater.
room.
Yeah, the projector room.
And they're like in a sleeping bag. And she's on her side and the guy is behind
Yeah.
her. And as he's
He's
behind
getting
her,
busy with her.
he like is kind of getting busy back there and she goes, ah, and she like kind of screams and jumps.
Yeah.
And like goes like, ooh, and then it cuts really fast. And I remember Marissa Gonzalez leaned over and she goes, he poked her in the butt. And I was like, no, he didn't. And she's like, oh, yeah, he did. But then I don't really have much more memory of the movie. And I think it's either because, A, it was 30 years ago.
Right.
And B, like, I probably was just talking to Marissa the rest of the time.
You know, honestly,
Not paying
I felt
attention.
like I made this movie up for a long
Sure.
time. Like there was years and years where I would remember scenes from this movie
Yeah.
and be like, "What was that?
What
movie?
was that movie where they
Yeah.
were just like walking down Wilshire
Yeah.
Boulevard? I don't
It was
remember.
like and then they go into a store and then they meet these like goth punk type dudes. Who,
Oh,
like,
my God. The goth stock boys.
That
I love
look like they should
their
be in like
style.
Devo or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I dated this guy who was like obsessed with film.
Yeah.
And one day we were talking about movies and zombies, and I brought it up, and he was like, "That's Night of the Comet," and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I don't know why this teacher, if it was third grade, it was Miss Holtzman, who was very young. and I remember why she would have shown it to us. I remember
was
why
it
we
like a
had just a
Christmas like
movie day.
It's the day of like before Christmas break.
Don't know.
Put on Night of the Comet.
Don't know what the thought process
these,
is.
like,
But these are
9-year-olds.
my memories of watching it with Marissa Gonzalez in a classroom. That was the first time I had seen it, but then since then I remember just renting it. But yeah, there's those memories of like Kelly Maroney is in a cheerleader outfit most of the movie. She's also a cheerleader in Fast Times, and like that's when you mostly see her is in a cheerleader outfit. So there's weird little things. Catherine Mary Stewart is playing video games at the beginning of the movie, and then she's in Last Starfighter, which
Yeah, I was
is
gonna
like
say
all about
you really
like,
love The Last Starfighter.
yeah, like a whole video game situation where you got to be the best, at this game to like get.
I also feel like
about aliens.
in that scene, I felt like she was like a lipstick lesbian.
Oh, absolutely.
And
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, oh wait, she's with this guy.
Yeah.
Like
She's got very like Joe Polnicek
Yes,
from the Facts
yes,
of Life
yes.
vibes, It's interesting that you mentioned that they don't look a thing alike because I did read that Heather Langenkamp, Nancy from A Nightmare on Elm Street, read for Sam.
Aren't they
the
both?
sister.
Isn't Nightmare also 84?
Nightmare is also 84.
that
so.
makes sense.
Yeah, and she would have looked a lot more like
She would have looked like
Mary
Catherine.
Stewart.
Yeah,
they would
totally.
have read as sisters a lot more. But I love Kelly Maroney. I think she's great in this. She's
Yeah, no,
great
totally.
in Chopping Mall, of
Oh,
course.
Chopping Mall.
We almost did Chopping Mall.
Yes.
I've wanted to do Chopping Mall before on the show.
I mean, we want to do Chopping Mall. for a while.
Iconic cover art.
Yeah. So the cover that you're talking about of the DVD is the one that's more like
it's a little more science fiction-y.
It's the one that's more colorful, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Because the VHS cover and promo posters, yes, is very like science fiction, like
It's like this door is opening into outer space.
Yeah.
Very,
Okay, but you're not
very
talking about
Twilight
that's
Zone.
the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's the first DVD release, and then there's the Blu-ray
Yeah.
version that's like the orange one and the motorcycle
That
and
looks
all that.
like
Yeah.
Twilight Zone-y. This movie is so fascinating because it shows a lot of 1984 downtown Los
Yeah.
Angeles.
I love those scenes. I think
Yes.
they're so cool.
And the El Rey Theater on Wilshire.
I mean, do you think that's the lobby?
I was going to say, did they do the interiors there?
Because it
know.
didn't look like that when I remember.
I would think the El Rey is probably a little bigger.
Well, the
when you
thing
go in.
is,
It's not.
from the door.
No, it's not.
When you first walk in behind the little ticket booth, there's a tiny ass lobby.
Yeah.
right there.
Okay. I
and
mean, I
there's
guess it could be
doors on either side
Yeah.
that you go in again, and
Right.
now you're in the big theater.
Exactly.
But the little lobby in the front, it's small like that. But I mean, since then, now it's a bar, like a literal like bar.
Right.
I have
But it's
never-
the same size and shape, so that could possibly have been what the lobby looked like at the time. Although, was the El Rey ever set up for movies?
I have no
I don't think
idea.
I
there's
have
a
no idea
screen
either.
back there. That's not how the theater's set up because
But I mean,
whatever.
that could have been a soundstage. The
yeah.
projector.
yeah. I think just the exterior in the lobby was
Yeah.
the exterior absolutely was.
And all the empty downtown shots.
That shit is
Well, I
wild,
mean-
but early 80s
Yeah.
Los Angeles, 6 o'clock in the morning,
Probably no one there.
probably no cars in downtown, or
Yeah.
really, really late at night.
She wakes up and she's walking around the streets and it's completely dead. And I'm like, okay, girl, first things first. You think there's going to be nobody on the
Right.
street?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, it's so weird that it takes a while for it to register.
I mean, I
The
was,
empty car- the
I was
empty
asking
cars,
Pete
yeah.
of just sort of how long would it take me driving in my car, going to work, to figure out everyone on Earth is gone. I think I would probably get pretty far until that really clicks. I
You'd
don't
like
know.
get to work in the parking lot. And you're like,
Like, where-
no, that was my thing. It's like, how long is it going to take? And then the like zombie she encounters, she's kind of nonchalant about
very
it.
blasé about the zombie.
Like, who's this asshole?
Yeah.
And then the wrench full of blood.
Yeah,
and she's just
and
like,
gore.
"Ew."
Yeah, she's like, ooh, that's your boyfriend or your fuck buddy. That whole situation at the beginning where she's talking to the guy and she's going to spend the night with him and the $15 and all that.
Oh yeah,
So weird.
yeah. And then he makes that joke about like her going down on him or
Yeah.
something. And I'm like, what is going on here? Because she's a high school student, right?
Yeah.
And he's, I'm assuming he's not.
I don't. Yeah. Well, I think there is a mention of her being 18.
Okay.
Sure.
But she does also say that she is in high school, and Sam is 16.
She looks it.
And she looks very.
She looks just as old as her
Sam
mom.
looks like Sam looks like photos of my mom.
When
she had my sister? She
Oh,
looks
okay.
exactly like my mom.
She had that
in the
haircut.
80s. Yeah.
What's the stepmother's name? Doris.
Yeah. I wish we would have seen what the dad looked like.
Right? Yeah. We never saw Dad. We only saw Doris, the stepmother.
Who's
oh my God.
like cheating on her?
She's fucking
with
the neighbor.
This woman plays one of the mothers in Can't Buy Me Love. She plays the girl that he buys in Can't Buy Me Love. She plays her mom, and it is her suede fringe bralette and skirt combo that gets covered in wine that she has to get the money for.
Yeah, like the fact that she first of all, they slap each other.
Oh my God.
And then the punch.
And the punch.
And it's like, and she's bleeding, and it's like, let me go back to the party.
Yeah,
Like,
grabs her shirt and just socks her in the face.
So we should probably set up that there is a comet
yes, sorry.
passing Earth. That
I like the early shots of the movie that it just looked like they went to like Times Square, but then
Right.
people are holding Comet posters. So I'm
Right,
like,
right.
oh, this is real, or like that they.
It's
shot
not like
this.
stock footage.
Yeah.
So this big comet is passing Earth, and I mean, it's just sort of it's the big comet party. It's the everyone's like having big comet watch parties, like neighborhood barbecues.
So there's voiceovers saying that the comet's like orbit is so big that there's no way humanity would have seen it ever. So we had no way to
know it was coming.
to prep for it.
Yeah.
And I guess in like Wikipedia or something, there's like notes about it, like the orbit being so big and so large that the last time it came to Earth, it like coincided with like killing all the dinosaurs or something. I don't know.
Sure.
Well,
Yeah.
whatever. But everybody's having their like Independence Day, like aliens take me away.
Now, what was
Comet
the big
parties.
comet from the 80s with the
Haley's.
cult?
Oh no! Well, Haley's Comet is.
I was going to say Haley's
from the
Comet.
80s. The comet with the cult was in the 90s.
It was from the 90s. That's right.
That was called Hail Bob.
Hail Bop.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
And that was where
yes.
everybody got those like ugly like Air Force One Nikes, and like, how did they all kill themselves? I forgot.
I think that they drank something. They were all
It
in, like,
wasn't
bunk
cool.
beds.
Yeah, but they were all
Yeah.
in the bunk beds.
Mhm.
Yeah. I remember seeing that comet. You could see it from like the sky. That was cool. Yeah. So
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the only thing that we know that like saved these two girls, which is interesting, that it was like, what did they say? It's not like metal, steel.
So
Steel.
Reggie was sleeping in the projection booth that is lead lined.
No, that's the thing. The guy said the walls are steel.
Okay.
And they had a whole conversation.
That's right.
About Superman not being able to see through it. And Reggie was like, no, stupid. Superman can see through steel. He can't see through lead. And he's like, oh, okay, whatever. And then Sam, after she got socked in the face by Doris, the stepmother, decided that her best revenge was to pretend to run away in the middle of the party, which Doris
feel
would not
like-
have given two shits.
I feel like there's like a missing scene with all of that.
Well, the thing is, it's a misdirect. We're supposed to
Sure.
we're supposed to see Reggie come home and not find Sam. And we didn't. The last time we saw her, she was sitting in the corner with the bloody lip. So I think we, as the audience, are like, "Oh fuck, Reggie's dead.
you think
Sam's
that-
dead.
you think she
Everybody's
turned
dead."
to dust?
Yeah, and then
Yep.
she walks in and she's like, "Oh, I slept in the shed. And, the shed was made of steel."
I don't know why I had a thought that she was in the washer.
The washing machine.
Dry. I don't know why.
Doris jammed her in there.
I don't know why I had that thought.
Staying here the whole night.
Yeah, but we get a premonition from the news reporter that the first city the comet went over they hadn't heard any updates.
Oh,
right,
sure.
right.
yet,
Yeah.
So there's already something there where they're like putting it in your head. It's
Yeah.
like,
Very interesting that the comet is never really explained in the movie.
right.
Like, I feel like
Don't worry
another
about it.
movie
Yeah.
you would have had, like, I don't know, like, the characters would have gone to, like, South America and seen, like, the comet on, like, a wall or something, and then the characters would, like, find out
Yeah,
that it's, like, an Ancient Aliens type of thing, but you don't really get it in this movie.
Well, for a movie called Night of the Comet, you don't get
No.
you don't get very much of the night
You
of
know,
the
yeah,
Comet.
and you know,
Yeah.
see, it happens really early in the night because Reggie's just like boning the dude in the thing in the projection room the whole night, and then everybody just wakes up. Well, the two of them just wake up, and you don't really see it. It's kind of done in like a cool special effect
Yeah.
kind of thing with like some reverse negative imagery and all that. But I love that everybody's just piles of dust.
So I was reading about the sort of the idea of this movie that this director, Tom Eberhardt, he wanted to write a movie with strong female protagonists and sort of a post-apocalyptic film. And he was doing PBS specials at the time, and
wow.
he would be around young people a lot. And he just asked all of these teenage girls about the script's premise and asked them, like, how would you react to an apocalyptic event like this? And he kind of put a lot of the girls' feedback into the script.
And they said,
I think
"Let's go to the mall,
I think
everybody."
the big thing is, like, going to the mall.
Right. Yeah, like when the scientists, are they scientists?
Yeah.
When they're like, where would teenage girls be at?
Yeah.
And they're like, the mall.
Yeah.
I mean, just something that had been around since the 70s with Dawn of the Dead. Of just sort of,
Oh, yeah.
you get that sort of critique of society of holding your characters, like the characters go to a mall, of just sort of, you just kind of get interesting consumerism, subtext with it.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like it's slightly like consumerism subtext, but also this movie's very just like, it's still pretty kooky. There's still like a girls just want to have fun montage.
I find the soundtrack to this movie to be fascinating, just because, I mean, this was a pretty low budget movie. This was done by a production company called Atlantic Releasing Corporation. I was on their wiki and was reading some of their back catalog, which was fascinating. But I mean, they probably couldn't shell out for like Bon Jovi songs in this movie, so they just had to find these kooky little like songs
And a cover of Girls
in
Just
the cover,
a sound alike.
So that was the thing too, that when I was trying to remember this movie before I found it again in my adult life, was like, there's a scene and they're shopping and the girls just want to have fun is playing.
Yeah.
And then everyone would be like, no, that's the movie Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Like, you're confusing it. And I was like, no.
Well,
like,
also
it's something else.
That movie has an interesting relationship with that song that clearly Cyndi Lauper like stonewalled using the actual song in this
Right.
movie. So
'Cause
they
it's
had
another
to,
cover in that
So they
one.
had to find another person to cover it.
yeah.
that's interesting.
Well, the whole idea of them just kind of like, okay, we're figuring it out. Everybody's gone. I love that Kelly Maroney as Sam, the younger sister, just plays it very like, I don't know, like her character is like she gets it, but she's just like, oh, well. What
All right.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's the thing that I find so interesting now, watching it later in life, where they're just like so nonchalant about the fact that like everyone's gone.
Boyfriend's dead. Parents
Yeah.
are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, then they're like having this like fight about like a boy, like, which is so funny to me because it's like,
Yeah, that's the thing. Sam in this movie, the younger sister, is horny.
Yeah.
Like the whole time, she's just like, every guy is just like, well, if you're not going to go, did you make it with him? Saying things like making it. Did you make it with him? Well, if you're not going to, like,
Yeah.
I'm going, all that kind of stuff. We have to talk about the radio station.
Yes.
This like weird neon, like sex club fantasy.
Yes.
Like,
okay. Also, am I imagining this, or is there some sort of the film Miracle Mile?
Miracle Mile.
Have you ever watched
Oh
it?
no,
I don't think so.
Okay, never mind.
Oh, okay.
We'll skip that.
We'll put a pin in there.
Yeah, I know. No, there's. You should watch it though. It's also kind of an end of the world type of thing that takes place in the Miracle Mile.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
And-
okay.
And what's his name from ER and Revenge of the Nerds is the main
Anthony
guy.
Edwards.
Is that his name?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Anthony
Anthony
Edwards.
Edwards.
He's the main person in Miracle Mile.
Oh, okay.
And it's a great look at LA too in
all
the
right.
80s.
Sure.
But there's like some weird sex clubby spa type of situation going on. But yes, I mean, it makes sense that they would go to the radio station
Yeah.
that is still.
Yeah, because that's still,
especially
'cause
when you
the TV
when
wasn't
you,
working.
When you turn on your radio
Yeah.
and you hear like the radio DJ.
Right.
Because the TV stations weren't working,
No.
but the radio was. But what I was telling Scott was, I always remember on the weekends, on Saturday and Sunday, on Kiss FM, they would play the weekly top 40.
Yes.
And it would be Casey Kasem.
Yep.
Right.
Right? Because...
Casey Kasem in the weekly top 40.
Yeah.
It was just like a pre-recorded.
It was syndicated.
Yeah.
So Casey was doing this like on Tuesday or something, shipping it out to everybody. And then on Saturday and Sunday at like 9 a.m. they would start it, and it would
Right.
play for like 2 hours or whatever. And that would just be like a block of programming they didn't have to worry about.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking like, well, those are all pre-recorded. But, you know.
They don't know that though.
They don't know that.
Yeah,
Last-
they're high school.
last kid
students.
Like
Yeah.
I think that I just assumed when I was a kid listening to Casey Kasem that he was just doing
He's in
it
a booth
live.
somewhere in-
He's in
in
a booth
Lewistown.
somewhere in like Hollywood.
I mean, I would say that I didn't. I realized that this was being broadcast in other states, but I thought it was being broadcast live
from LA.
From
Yeah,
LA. Yeah.
Same.
I mean,
same.
I remember I went to radio and television school, and some of my classmates were DJs for the Missoula radio station, and they would fully just be at school as their
show was playing.
show was playing.
Yeah.
Just that they had just gone in earlier and just
Pre-recorded it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I do that sometimes with my radio show. If I can't be there on Sundays, I'll pre-record it.
Yeah. So they decided to go to this radio station. I love that everything in this movie, like, it's one of those things, movies of a certain era, even if it was set somewhere, they didn't really go to too much pains to, like, be faithful to the geographic location.
Right.
And we're, Scott
and
and
especially
I,
in the 80s, like,
Yeah.
no one's going to care.
and no one cares. No one is sitting in the movie theater tracking that shit down.
Is the mall downtown? I don't know.
Early days of VHS, of watching movies over and over and over and over again in your own home. But Scott and I, obviously, as listeners know, we take this shit real serious.
Oh, when we did our commentary for Terminator last month, like we were trying to like
We were walking to precinct from the red line station, going, "That's Falas." So that's where he went down the stairs and got his sawed-off shotgun. I was finding all the spots.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything in this movie takes place in like the Toy District in downtown LA,
Uh-huh.
or like up by the Music Center,
Right.
like on what street is that?
Once they leave the El Rey, and then like they film, I'm assuming like their home like in the valley or
Yeah,
something.
that looks like just some suburbs.
And then like Hector's house, I feel like it looks like Lincoln Heights. to
I
me.
agree. Yeah. The style of the houses. Yeah.
Yeah.
He says San Diego, but no, that's here.
yeah.
Girl, he did not go to San Diego.
No. Yeah.
No. Also, like, I mean, with no traffic, I guess.
Yeah.
He'll get there in
I mean,
90 minutes.
Sure. I mean, yeah. No traffic, you can make it to San Diego.
Hey,
and
but even on the night of the Comet, on the 5 freeway, there's still going to be cars. So he's weaving in and out of all these people. There's pileups. All the cars just like went out of control on the freeway.
Right. That's the
No.
other thing. It's
No.
like, she approaches the one car that's like there.
Yeah.
And I was like, how's there only one?
One?
One car. There
No.
has to be more
Yeah.
people who were traveling while this happened.
Yeah,
it's
not
almost-
everybody's
well,
watching the Comet.
It's almost as if they were shooting this at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday.
4 o'clock in the morning,
And
yeah.
they didn't have it in the budget for any other
Yeah.
cars.
Yeah.
Okay, so this radio station.
Right.
Like, if this is a place of business, I mean, I don't know. There's got to be like OSHA needs to come in. I'm going to trip and fall. It is so dark in there. It's like the only light in this room is neon.
Uh-huh.
And it's not even a lot of neon. There's just like a huge leather couch in like the center of a room with nothing. and like a booth just open. That doesn't look soundproof at all.
No.
Like this fucking radio station is crazy.
It's like a clubhouse.
yeah.
I mean, if you were, if Los Angeles was deserted, apocalypse, you go to your radio station. What are you playing for your afternoon like lineup?
For no one to listen to.
For no one to listen to but you.
That's a good question.
Just put on really bad stuff.
On a Sunday, yeah, I don't know. Like, I would put something really like rowdy or like something really like dancey, just to like not be depressed.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
You know, I'm gonna play what's that song? Till the End of the World? Is that what it's called?
Which
The
one?
one that was featured in Girl Interrupted.
Scott, you know Girl Interrupted more than I do.
Oh,
That really
dang.
depressing song.
Downtown by
No.
by
That's
Petunia
Tula
I
Clark.
think it's called
Tula
Till
Clark.
the End of the World. Anyways,
Okay.
it was just a bad joke, but
Yeah.
someone will appreciate it. That's
I
listening.
was looking for intro songs to this movie, and I was very close to our intro song being "I Think We're Alone Now" by Tiffany.
Oh my God,
I
so
was.
You were going through like
outvoted.
Well, I was just like, no, this is a spooky October movie. I want something with a little more edge. So we decided to go with the Gold Dust Woman cover from City of Angels.
Okay, you don't think this is edgy? You know, they're alone. They're the last ones left. I get it. It's corny.
Children Behave.
I was there. You go. It's on theme. I was also going to play. I also was going to get a little cerebral and play something by Bill Haley and his Comets, but that's just like 50s music, and it just would have been completely out of nowhere.
I think we're going to be doing Clue
Yeah,
in like
so.
the next 2 months, so we're probably going to save it for that.
But I was going to say I want to talk about Hector.
Yeah.
Got to talk about Hector, played by Robert Beltran of Star Trek Voyager fame.
And Star Trek Voyager is the one with Captain
Janeway.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
I was doing a Google search of end of the world songs.
Brittany.
And I got some. Oh shit! That would have been a good one, actually.
Oh, that's not spooky.
I know.
You can't play that if
Change
I can't
the
play
rules.
Tiffany. Yeah, you can't change the rules. We'll go out on that song.
Sorry, Hector. Going back to Hector.
Hector.
Are we talking about like Fine?
Well, no, I'm just talking about Robert Beltran.
okay.
You know,
He's pretty cute.
He was in Star Trek Voyager playing a Native American character, but it was 1995 when that show first started, so times were different. So a Mexican guy could play Native American. He's in this. He was also in Eating Raoul with Mary Warrenoff,
Yep.
who is in this movie later
Yes,
on.
Mary Warrenoff.
Yeah, and Paul Bartel, I believe, is the other one from Eating Raoul, they're both in Chopping Mall.
Yep.
Yes.
So-
Well, just playing their characters from Eating
From
Raoul,
Eating
too.
Raoul, exactly.
Yep.
I did a reading once, and Mary Warrenoff was also reading that day, and it was so intimidating and scary. And, and as soon as I read, I just walked out of the venue and went outside. And then she came up to me and she's like, "Oh, your stuff was so good." And I was like,
You watched.
"Yeah." I was like, "What?" Anyways,
But yeah, so I think I read that Robert Beltran, when he initially got this movie, the role was a little different, and they intentionally cast Latino, and he came in and said, "This isn't going to be stereotype. I'm not going to play a cholo.
right.
He's just going to be a dude."
I mean, according to IMDb, he is of Mexican and Native American ancestry.
I think that's what he
So-
said during the Voyager days, and he referred to it as mestizo, which is a whole thing. But yeah, so
That
was
makes
kind of-
sense.
yeah.
And I mean, I appreciate that. Like, he's just this dude from LA
Yeah.
who happens to be Latino,
Yeah.
you know? And it's not, I mean, we don't get it shoved down our throat until he goes home.
Yeah. With the Feliz Navidad
Yeah.
record player.
And then after I was being real critical, I'm like, and the house is red. And I was like, oh no, it's the skyline.
It's the skyline.
Like, because, you know, they always want to paint Latino houses
All
these
crazy
colors.
colors.
And just when you drive up, you just hear.
Yeah. It's just like, but yeah.
That red skyline, though, throughout the entire movie, you're like, oh
Do
my
you
God, I
remember?
can't-
Do you remember a couple years ago? I I think it was like I think
The
it was
fires
2020.
that day.
Yeah.
All of the fires around LA.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the city straight up looked
Orange.
like
Yeah.
Night of the Comet.
Yeah.
I remember. Do you know who we were recording with that night?
I don't.
When LA was like that, it was Dennis for our Sunset Boulevard episode.
Oh, okay.
I remember we were recording on that day of the Night of the Comet, like sky.
Okay. Yeah, those fires, man, they'll do it too, especially out in Pasadena. It was like crazy up there. But
So Hector goes to San Diego to visit his family.
yes, he's got to go check on his mom,
And
his ama.
the sisters stay at the radio station.
Yeah, I guess it's just like at this point, they just might as well stay here.
Yeah. And Hector has a run-in with the one white kid in the Latino neighborhood. The white zombie kid.
That little white boy is trying to eat Hector.
Yeah.
But Hector doesn't want to shoot him. He's got a gun.
Oh, yeah. He's trying to be, like, ethical. He's just like,
Yeah.
I can't kill you, kid. The other thing, too, though, is just like, there's fucking zombies, and you guys are acting like this is you guys are acting
Yeah.
like you're an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer where there's a new fucking
Yeah.
monster every week, and everyone's just like, yeah, that's just the way it is here.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I don't know if it's just part of Reggie's character, but then Hector too with the little
Yeah.
kid. A, it's a zombie. B, it's a child. He's more freaked out that it's a kid.
Right,
than
right,
it's
right.
like an undead, like partially.
And Sam's just like, "What's up with these assholes?"
Yeah.
Sam just hates. Yeah, Sam's just annoyed by.
I think those dream sequences are really effective.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I've seen this movie a few times, and the dream sequences kind of get me every time that I think that they're real.
because it's edited really well. You're just like, well, I guess you just got a car,
Right.
Because the whole thing is that there's nobody there, so that when anything that they have, that's the excuse. That's how
Right.
all these guns and Uzis and
Yeah.
machine guns.
So let's go to the mall. Let me make my sister happy, and let's
Yeah.
go to the mall with Uzis.
Yeah.
And like have a montage. I love how she's doing her like eyelashes, like she's doing her makeup there in
Yeah.
that mirror, and they're just like chilling, talking, and then all of a sudden, these group of like new
my God.
wave gothy punky dudes come out of nowhere, like. Where were they this
Yeah,
whole time?
I was wondering if they were like half zombies.
Well, okay, because the main guy who's talking kind of looks a little zombie-ish.
Right.
But the other guys don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the one guy that he shoots, he looks normal.
Yeah.
Most of the other guys, they just look like punky
And
new
I'm
wave
assuming that the
guys.
zombies are the people that didn't quite turn to dust, but they were still affected by like
Yeah, we have to talk
by the
about
comet.
the
Yes.
zombies. They never really explain. I'm
Yes.
just assuming they were in like they were in a steel shed, but the door was open. I don't know. I don't know. Something where it just wasn't as effective as.
But these aren't like let me eat your brain zombies. These are just like I want to kill you.
They just-
zombies.
These are like the 28 days later.
Because we only really saw the first zombie kill the boyfriend.
Right.
And all he did was hit him with the wrench and like
Right.
drag his body off.
Right. I don't know. We don't know if he ate him or
Yeah.
he just like took him away.
And he spoke. I think he spoke.
I think so.
I think he spoke, but it was very like zombie, like
Yeah.
me want food. Yeah. Kind of a thing. But
yes.
yeah, the stock boys, it looks like the one kind of is, and I'm assuming because they were stock boys in like a department store, those walls are thick.
Oh, Stock
I don't
Boys.
know.
That one flew over my head.
He said it at one point. It was
Okay,
like, we
yeah.
used to be stock boys and now we're kings
Yeah.
or something crazy.
Yeah, that scene's very like intense. Where there's like these like 5-6 guys and they're like after these two girls, and then
Yeah.
they capture them, and then as this is happening, we find out that there's this like group of scientists. Where are these scientists based out of?
Who,
Yeah.
That is
Because like
unclear.
I'm trying to figure out, because at one point it's like they're helicoptering, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's like a car ride
driving.
away.
Yeah.
And then when they say they're survivors, I'm assuming they're talking about the sisters, and it
Right.
turns out it's these two children
Yeah.
who were probably at that party in the valley. I don't know.
But where would they have been hiding? They needed to
Maybe
be
they
in-
were the ones in the
in the washing
washer
machine.
and dryer.
There you
machine,
go.
sure.
Yeah, but these kids are not brother and sister because the girl
No.
looks Asian and
They
the
just-
boy's blonde. Like,
I
They
mean,
just
hey,
picked up these kids.
yeah,
They could be brother and sister. We have the other two sisters. You know, we had the Jackie Roseanne
That's
situation.
yeah,
going on.
yeah. I saw Webster. They could be siblings.
Okay, so explain to me the whole thing
so
with the
I
scientists.
don't quite understand what the scientists were initially doing. Like, what was their...
Did they know the comet was coming?
Right. But what I do know is, according to Mary Warrenoff, at one point they thought that they were safe from the comet.
Yeah.
But they actually weren't. The vents were open, and like comet juice or whatever like got in, and they
Comet dust.
Comet dust.
Yeah.
And they all breathed it in, and so they initially thought they were unaffected, but they actually are affected, and all the scientists are eventually going to
die?
first turn into zombies, then just turn into dust. And so now what they're doing is finding all the survivors that they can, and just kind of like putting them to sleep, and
Taking their blood. Yeah.
and then trying to develop a cure for themselves.
Okay. Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
And then they also think that Kelly Maroney, that Sam is kind of as affected as they are.
Yeah.
Because she's like, she keeps drinking like Diet Cokes like there's no tomorrow. She just always has a soda in her hand.
Is it a soda or is it like a malt?
She's
Like
at one point
beer.
she says soda.
Okay. I just assumed that she was like open containing it and just walking around with the cold one.
Maybe in the dream sequence she's drinking beer. But and then she also is like scratching. And she has
She
like a
keeps
red
talking
mark.
about a rash that she has.
But then she kind of explains it away. So I like to think that Sam's fine. That it's just the nervous rash that she was talking about. And you know, shit's going on. So she's nervous. She just needs a Coke or a beer, whatever it is. But I like there's like the little thing of like Mary Warrenoff is like her mind is going.
Right.
And she she can't spell things right, and she's forgetting things and all that.
All of these scenes with the scientists strike me as something that was probably in the original script a little more, and then as they were filming it, they probably just had to scale back on it.
Yeah,
Like-
because it's unclear who they are, what they were initially doing.
The way
Yeah.
it is, though, it almost is it's as if there's two different movies happening.
Yeah.
You know, like
Which is kind of fun.
yeah, because they're like, let's make this fun, kooky, like sisters survive, and then it's like, but then the scientists have to like survive, and they're gonna take these sisters. But it's like, I wish they would have upped it more. You know,
Yeah.
when they take the older sister, like that whole. That from that scene on, I wanted more, to be honest. As a child, I just loved this movie, but as an adult, looking at it, I'm like, oh, like there could have been more there.
There's like a subplot that you had to sort of commit a little more to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. And like the little kids, where they're gonna take them to the North Pole.
Oh my gosh,
You're gonna go see Santa.
crazy. When the girls do leave to go to the mall, it's like, yeah, she wants to just kind of get Sam kind of out of, you know, just kind of cheer her up a little bit,
Right.
like you said. And then, but where does Hector go? Because he leaves for like a good portion
San
of the movie.
Diego.
Is that when he goes
Yeah,
to San
yeah,
Diego?
he's still coming back.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
gone there the whole time. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I didn't know if he went and came back and then went again.
No.
but He's
he
been
still
gone.
hadn't returned.
He still hadn't even come back yet. Okay. He
Right.
is not. I remember him being in the movie a lot more.
Right.
But he's like barely.
Yeah, it's just like at that one scene, and then when he comes back
Yeah.
and helps them.
Yeah. But there's still a lot of talk with the girls about like, you know, like, did you make it with him? And
Right.
like, you know, and Sam later on when she does meet Mary Warrenoff and she's just like, ooh, like Hector's coming back. Like, I should wait for him because if like,
Right.
if Reg doesn't want him, then I mean, he's the last guy on earth, so I'll take him. Kind of, it's like, all right, calm down.
Yeah, she's ready to populate. You know?
Yes.
She wants to.
She's hot to trot. But yeah, I feel like there's not enough of like that really fun.
I want to see more of the first 30 minutes of the movie. Like, I want to see them,
Yeah.
like, I mean, probably just logistically, you can only shoot downtown LA so much.
Yeah.
Of them running around like
Empty streets?
empty streets.
Yeah.
But all those scenes are really fun. I kind of want to see a little bit more of them just walking around the mall.
Yeah, there's not enough of them in the mall. There's like there's a fun little montage in the department store, but it's cut short
Pretty quick.
Pretty quick, yeah. And
Like,
then-
I don't think that we're
it's
even
pretty dark.
completely done with the cover of Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Yeah, and it's only one department store.
Yeah.
They don't walk around.
I was trying to
the
look
rest
up.
of the mall.
I was trying to look up if it's shot at America's Mall, the Sherman Oaks Galleria.
I thought it was. I thought that I
It
had
might
read that
be.
it was.
I was
but
trying to
what
figure
a
out
waste.
where it was and like what store it was, and I was like, "That's a fancy store for the '80s."
Probably
Yeah.
the Sherman Oaks Galleria.
That staircase.
I mean, that's where all the malls. That's where all the movies
Yeah.
shot when
Shopping
they needed
mall.
a mall. But the thing is,
Fast
they didn't.
Times.
They didn't
Mhm.
really use. They didn't really utilize.
You
much
didn't.
of
You
the
didn't
mall.
go out to that like atrium.
Yeah, they were just like in the May Company or something.
So
the
I was
entire
looking
time.
up the production company. I thought it was really interesting that I hadn't really heard of Atlantic Releasing Corporation.
No, I hadn't heard of this.
And they were a sort of, they would do these B movies in the 80s. Some notable Atlantic Entertainment Group movies were Valley Girl, Teen Wolf. They did a
Oh.
lot of animation.
Okay.
He-Man and She-Ra, The Secret of the Sword.
Oh.
And they did the Smurfs and the Magical Flute.
Okay.
And I was reading that Atlantic really wanted to capitalize off of the success of Valley Girl.
right.
And a lot of sort of genre drive-in movies that young people were going to at the time. So I think that's sort of
Interesting.
where we get that B-movie tone that the director's going for.
And I think probably the character of Sam, they probably were like more teen girl
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
You know, she's very like not flippant, but she's just very like, I don't know. Her character is just kind of, she bucks authority.
Well, there's been a lot written on this that when you go to like the wiki, the IMDb, that this was one of the major inspirations for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And when you watch
right,
it,
yeah.
you can totally see it, that I see a lot of a character like Buffy Summers in both Reggie and Sam. I feel like Buffy's sort of like a combination of both of these two girls. And yeah, like you're right. It has a very like Monster of the Week quality about it. The early scenes with Reggie and the zombie, I get a lot of Buffy from that.
Yeah. It was. I had no idea about that, but I can totally see it now.
And
Yeah.
I haven't really read any direct quotes from Joss Whedon about
Right.
this as an inspiration. But I mean, you can clearly see it.
Yeah,
That
the
he
character.
had seen
She was a
movie like this.
cheerleader as
Yeah.
well in the film, right?
Yeah.
Buffy film.
And the TV show.
She was a cheerleader in the show.
There is an episode in season 1 where she goes out where she tries out for the cheer squad.
Does she make
Gosh,
It's the witch.
I'm still
Yeah.
on the first college season.
Well,
I've been
with
watching-
Riley?
I've been-
Speaking of the first college season, the initiation, what Riley is a part of, it reminds me a lot of
The scientists.
the scientists. In
Yeah,
this.
yeah, totally.
Yep.
I've been watching Buffy for like 10 years, and I'm like, I'm barely there.
I love that.
I watched it as it aired.
I just can't. My brain can't like take too much of the Monster of the Week.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I know there's
Yep.
other plot lines going on as well, but I'm very distracted by the fact that like, oh yeah, there's just this guy with horns running around and like, you know,
and they're cool with it.
and Buffy's
mean-
going to handle it.
I
Yeah.
mean, Sunnydale's pretty wild like
yes,
that.
yes,
Yep.
it is.
I was saying as we were watching it that Sam is more movie Buffy and
Sure.
Reg
Oh,
is
uh-huh.
more show Buffy.
I agree.
I see it.
Right.
I totally see that.
Yeah. Reggie is like kind of adept at everything. Like she dispatches the zombie at the very beginning of the movie with her bare hands and like a 2x4 that she found like on the ground. And then she just gets on that fucking motorcycle and
Well, I
rides
mean,
her ass home.
Maybe,
Right.
maybe
Like-
that's her boyfriend's motorcycle. Maybe she learned it from him.
Yeah.
I mean, it
but
was
I mean,
ride it.
with no one on the streets, you know.
yeah.
So The security guards at the Science Hub or whatever.
Sure.
The one security guard who comes out when Hector and why do I keep forgetting her name? Oh my god, Sam,
yeah.
Sam.
Come when she's in the trunk and they lure him over. He was kind of hot. I was like, I want to see more of him.
Where's this guy spin off?
Where is this guy at?
I always do that. Sometimes I'll find somebody in a movie. I'm like, who's that one? And look him up.
I
Nowhere to be
was
found.
just talking to Scott the other day about that film, like the snake film.
Oh.
There's like a shower scene with this guy. A+.
I don't think I've ever seen.
No, we watched it one night.
Did we?
It was programmed on TCM, and we watched it on demand. It has.
we did. Yeah.
It has one of the young actresses from The Sound of Music in it.
Oh,
that's
interesting. Okay, back to Night of the Comet.
Yeah. I wish there was more. I wish there was more mall stuff, but we got plenty. We got plenty of that.
You know what
in
would be
shopping
really
mall.
interesting is if they remade this movie, but there was a few more survivors and they were teens as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And
Be a good. I mean, it would be a good premise for a TV show. Too.
yes,
Yep.
yes, definitely. And I feel like it could be like a dark comedy action type of situation.
I mean, we got like Last Man on World.
Last Man on Earth.
Last Man on Earth. Yep.
yeah.
But also just kind of a different.
Which
type
we
of
didn't.
movie.
Which we didn't finish. We stayed with Last Man on Earth, which is with MacGruber.
Will Forte.
Will Forte.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was
Will
good.
Forte
That was good.
and,
What we
Kristen
saw.
Shaw. Yep.
Kristen Shaw. Yeah.
Her
Okay.
breaking into craft stores.
So then Hector and Sam come to save her sister.
Oh gosh, there's the whole thing with like. I feel like we get a lot of fake outs with Sam.
yeah,
Because
is
we
she
have
dead?
we have her fake out of is she dead at the
And
beginning?
it's one of those things that I haven't seen this movie in a while, and when she like injects that into her, I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Like,
oh, so
oh,
Sam is
shit.
just dead now?
Yeah, no, totally. I thought the same thing. I was like, I don't remember.
I don't remember this character dying.
But like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Because Mary Warnoff, like, she's conflicted about this whole thing.
Right.
I think just because she knows that, like, we're dying anyway. Like, whatever we're doing, like, we're, like, murdering all these survivors just to, like, get a cure for ourselves. But, like, it ain't going to work. Like, we have no time. So we just need to, like, stop doing this. So she, like... But I love, too, that Sam's just like, oh, what are you going to give me? And she just says, I don't know what she tells her it is. Vitamins or something.
Right.
And she's like, oh, cool. Okay.
Let me just get out this needle and do like
If like people in
wrap
uniforms,
that like rubber thing around your arm.
after the night of the comet, and we were the last people on Earth, and all that stuff, and these people come in a weird uniform with a patch that I've never seen before.
I'm
They're
gonna
just
be
like,
I'm gonna be
"Let me give you
hesitant
this
to even
shot."
go with them.
Yeah.
Right. So
No.
like, they give more cult vibe than
Yes.
Like, you know,
the
like,
stock voice.
like it's like, why do we have these uniforms?
Yeah.
Like, what scientists have to go to work in a jumpsuit? Like,
A belted
A
jumpsuit.
belted jumpsuit, though, I think that's kind of fierce. Like the belt.
I feel like it was very 80s to be like a belted jumpsuit or a jumpsuit
Yeah,
for like
yeah.
science fiction stuff.
The belt that they had, I don't know if you remember it was white, but it was that like army, like thick canvas belt, you know? And I was telling Scott I had several of those from like the army surplus.
Oh my God.
In my multiple belt wearing days.
Oh my God.
You wear one to keep the pants up and one
For fashion.
For fashion. For fashion.
Whenever you just don't know what to do, just belt it.
Yeah. The studded belt, or you would have the buckle like on the side, not in the front.
I also feel like the children are very calm for.
They are. Their parents are dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming.
I mean, they must have. They've had to have seen the dust piles of clothes.
Yeah. And these kids
yeah.
are just like, all right, what are we doing? We're going to this room now? Okay.
Yeah, and it's like,
Got my giant teddy bear.
why are you not freaking the fuck out?
Yeah. In pajamas and the full robe.
Yeah, why don't you let her change? Let her put some clothes on.
I always remember kids in movies and on TV shows wearing robes. And I don't know if it's just
Did you never have a robe as a kid?
Regional thing because it
I had a
never
robe.
got that
You
cold
had a
here.
robe?
So
I had a robe when I was a
When
kid.
would you wear a robe? From your room to the bathroom? It's not that long.
I mean, I feel like I would just wear it on like a Saturday morning running around my house.
Oh no, I was just in like chonies and a t-shirt.
Yeah,
running
I was
around.
just going to say. I think, like children in robes was like a TV thing for me.
Yeah, for me, yeah.
And like, I mean, still, I've never owned a robe.
No, never. Adults in robes. My parents didn't have them. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Chonies and a t-shirt on a Saturday. That took all day for me to put pants on.
Yeah. But yeah, so they take these kids, they're going to basically take the life out of them. And these kids are so chill about the whole
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
I'm like, girl, you're like in this weird ass building
Yeah.
with all these machines and stuff. And you're just like, okay.
All right.
I think I'm putting up more of a fight
My parents
if I'm a
are-
kid.
My parents
Right?
were turned to dust less than 24 hours ago. I don't know what state I'm in. I'm in an underground like bunker.
The
Yeah.
dust thing is very Buffy the Vampire Slayer too.
Yeah.
Also, like the dust. Did you see how like they tried to make it look like bodies, like
Yeah.
the shapes of
Yeah.
bodies? Like, I was
Yeah.
like, these like chalk outlines, but
Yes,
dust.
but dust. Yeah, and then like even
Like-
like the dog on the little
Yes.
leash was on the floor.
And there was that big purse. By the way,
Yeah.
I was like, that purse is lying flat. It would have just
It would,
dropped.
yeah, yeah, because they made it like a
Yeah.
two-dimensional.
Yeah, like everything's flat, and I was
Yeah.
just like laughing. I was, yeah.
This block party, though, I mean, I would have wanted to go to that block party. That looked fun. There was like burgers out, like the whole block was there. And
Oh
this,
yeah,
like,
the next morning, all the
Yeah.
food, and also all the women were like throwing themselves at the one neighbor.
Oh yeah.
dude, yeah, they were like horny
I mean,
for
this
the one
this
guy.
comment must be like making women horny as it's coming
That
by.
was the horny women comment.
All these housewives just like, ooh, waiting for Bob or whoever it was. I'm gonna tell Daddy. Socks are in
She's
the
like the same age as her stepmom.
The stepmom was very tan,
Yes.
very blonde, very tan, but she
The stepmom reminded me of Callie Taylor's mom on 90210.
sure,
Oh,
yeah.
sure.
Anne Gillespie.
Anne Gillespie. Yep.
Had the same vibe.
They
you know?
did. They did. Although Anne Gillespie never like cold cocked.
No.
You never see her just punch Kelly.
Kelly.
No, but
yeah.
I feel like this woman
She
also had a
wanted to.
coke problem.
Oh,
like Anne Gillespie.
Definitely.
So this actress
absolutely
is
did.
played by Sharon Farrell, and you're right. She's in Can't Buy Me Love.
Mhm.
She's in It's Alive.
It's alive. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's.
I
Very,
tried to
she's
look up a lot of the
specific.
cast of this film, and none of them did like a lot of work.
No, yeah, no, it's not a.
I mean, I feel like both Catherine Mary Stewart
Catherine
and
Mary Stewart
Kelly
did.
Maroney.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to want to visit their table at like a comic book convention.
Right.
Catherine has this and the Apple,
Oh
the
yes,
Apple, yeah.
which the Apple, if just sort of listeners, like if you want to watch a really insane movie, check out the Apple. It has a crazy soundtrack. The production history of it with Canon Films is very fascinating. And Kelly Maroney is just, she's in like so much stuff. Like she was in Fast Times, Chopping Mall.
She has a very recognizable face.
She does. Yeah. But Scott, you can't forget with Catherine Mary Stewart. Like we said, she's also in The Last Starfighter, and she is in Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh yes, we can have Bernie's.
Is she like, whose girlfriend is she in Weekend at Bernie's?
Probably Andrew McCartney. No, I don't know. Maybe Jonathan Silverman. I think Jonathan
I
Silverman
haven't
was
watched
more of
Weekend
the-
at Bernie's. I've only watched it once back.
Let
in
me
the
tell
day.
you, it does not hold up.
I remember watching.
tried,
I
and it
remember
was-
watching Weekend at Bernie's when I was in Mexico on a bus.
Oh no,
One of those movies that when you're on a bus in Mexico that they'll just put it on, and it was Weekend at it was, I believe it was, we were going to Mexico City, and it was Backdraft and Weekend at Bernie's
Backdraft.
that we watched on the bus.
I watched some weird movie in Europe on the train from Barcelona to Madrid, and it was some movie with that woman that was in Enchanted. What was her name?
Amy Adams?
Amy Adams, and it had to do with her ex-boyfriend getting married and her going to the wedding.
Leap Year?
Ooh, that movie's not good.
I don't know, but it was playing on the train, and I was like, "Why are they making us watch this?"
Forcing you to watch this.
Turn this off.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
the wedding date?
No,
It doesn't matter.
it was weird. It was just a weird movie I had never heard of, and I was like, I'd rather stare out this window and look at the beautiful landscape than this movie.
I think Night of the Comet would be a good
Bus
movie to
ride,
watch on the bus,
train ride
in
movie.
Mexico.
Yes. Oh my god! When I was a child in Mexico, the movie theater. It was a small pueblo, so the movie theater was someone's backyard.
Love it.
And you would pay, and there was two different prices. One was you could get a chair that was like a room that just had a bunch of the woven chairs with the wood, and you just pick one out of the pile and you place it. Or the other one was you don't get a chair and you just sit on the floor or in the trees and stuff.
In a tree.
Wow.
Not
And-
in a tree.
And all the movies were like dubbed,
Yeah.
So we would see all these like American movies that we had seen in the States.
Were they
with our
shot on
cousins.
film? Or,
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
Projected on film.
projected? Okay.
On a
That's
wall,
cool.
on a wall in someone's backyard. Who had like the properties were big, so it was like a huge, space. But I remember watching all these like ninja movies and like, like a lot of action movies.
Oh my God.
And kung fu movies that were dubbed. But
Well, we'll ask Sandra if she ever watched any backyard movies sitting in a tree.
Mm-hmm.
Our Ita Mama También guest, she had a lot of stories about growing up in Mexico. But I never watched this movie on a bus, but I did watch it several times on VHS. But it's one of those movies that I kind of remember as a kid being like, yeah, this is fun. And then I watched it as an adult, and I'm like, I had zero business watching this as a child.
yeah,
There's
same.
Did we get any boobs in this movie?
No,
No,
I feel like
but
I feel like
we
I feel like we should have.
we should have.
Yeah, but not from the girls though, because
Yeah.
Kelly Maroney's character is a teenager, but she gets down to like lingerie
So
several times.
Yes, right. So I was looking up merchandise for this film, and there was like a shirt of Kelly Maroney, but I don't think it's for this movie. I think it was something else because it was like her, and her top is open, and she has lipstick on her boob, and
What?
it was so weird.
No, that's Night of the Demon.
I was gonna say it's not Night of the Demon.
That's Night of the Demon.
'cause-
That's Linnea Quigley.
I was gonna say I sometimes
Okay,
confuse
okay.
her with Linnea Quigley.
well, it was under the Night of the Comet merchandise.
Oh, they messed you up.
I mean, this
Yeah,
movie
and
was
I
a
was
pretty.
like, I don't remember seeing tits.
If she's wearing pink and a
Yes.
top ponytail,
yes,
that's-
very Angeline.
That's
Yeah.
Linnea Quigley in Night of the Demons.
Okay.
And that scarred me for life because in that movie, she opens up the
Does she have
top.
3 tits?
No, she doesn't have
Oh.
3 tits, but she puts the lipstick on and she's putting it on her mouth all like, I'm a pretty lady, like all over her mouth, right? And then like draws it down her neck and down to her like boob.
Yeah.
And like circles one of her and then shoves a lipstick like into
her
her
nipple?
titty. Yeah, like with their finger. And you're just like, ah!
Yeah.
And it's scary. It's
Night of the Demon's
disgusting,
pretty wild.
gross, and it's like a weird
I
like
don't remember it. I'm
dream,
gonna have
like-
to watch it.
It's awful.
Oh yeah, track it down this month and watch it. It's a good October movie.
Yes.
Yeah, Angie at the party. It's
This
really
movie
fun.
was a pretty decent hit. I mean, this made $14 million
Okay.
for its release on like a $700,000 budget. So it's
wow.
like I think it was a pretty decent sleeper.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it did find. I mean, I don't know what the audience was like in the 80s. Obviously, a lot of people saw it, but
Yeah.
I feel like it did find a cult audience like throughout the 90s, and
Yeah.
because there's like a lot of people who are like my age that I talk to about this film, and they're like, "Oh my god, I used to love that movie," or "Oh my god, blah 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 blah." And like I said, for a while, I just think people didn't know the name of it because it's very. I feel like the cover art of the VHS tape is very deceiving. Like,
Sure.
Like I think if I were to have seen that, I wouldn't have thought that was the movie that I already had seen. You know?
Right.
Like I almost think of a movie like Solar Babies when I see this poster. Have you ever seen Solar Babies with
Yeah.
like
No.
Jamie Gertz and
Jason Patrick.
Jason Patrick?
I that cover art though makes me think of Cocoon.
All right.
Yes,
I get Cocoon from that.
I can see that as well. I also think like the title is also slightly misleading too, because like we said, the Comet's barely in it.
Yeah.
it's all the aftermath.
It's not set on the night of the
the
Comet.
night of. Yeah. It's the
I
day
feel
after
like
the Comet.
I want more of the action leading up to the comet, and the comet happened so fast that we
Yeah.
don't. I want to see sizzling people.
Yes,
Turning
and I
into
think
dust.
I think that was partially the budget too. Like
Yeah.
we can't do the like transformation of them turning to dust. We're just going to
No,
show
we're
it.
just gonna have 5 zombies in the film sporadically.
But I'm into sort of the Valley Girl meets the Omega Man. Like
Yeah.
I'm into that tone.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, totally. And where are we with time? I'm sorry.
Oh, we're good. Yeah.
No, because I don't want to jump to the end if we're not there yet.
Oh
but
no, we can go right to it.
No, like, so they save the day, and then let's talk about DMK really quick.
So, okay, here was my thing that bothered the shit out of me at the beginning of the movie. Regina is working at the movie theater, right?
Right.
At the El Rey, which does not show movies. And during her shift, when she should be helping customers, she's playing a video game.
Right.
In the lobby. And the manager's like,
I don't pay you to stand around and play video
I don't pay you to
games.
stand around and play video games. Get out of here. But she's like super into it. What is this video game? I have no idea. But she's putting in her initials as like number 3, high score. And you see it's all Reg, R-E-G.
Right.
And then number 6 is DMK. And she's like, what the fuck? Who's DMK? Who the fuck? Asking everybody, do you know DMK? Do you know DMK? And everybody's like, I don't know who that is. My big thing that messed me up was the next morning, before she goes out and kills the zombie, she plays one more time, beats the score for number 6, and puts in REG. Wouldn't that just make DMK number 7? It doesn't. It makes it disappear. That's not how leaderboards work on video games. It would just bump him down to number 7.
Right.
That's not realistic.
That's
therefore-
That's not
this
realistic for a movie like Night of the Comet.
And therefore, this movie
Yeah, and so like
does not get recommended.
once they save the day, it's like the next day, and everyone got a makeover.
But then they're wearing like Easter Sunday clothes.
Yes.
Yeah, like they have
why-
adopted these children.
Right.
They are their parents.
All of a sudden, her and Hector are together.
Yeah.
And like they adopted these 2 kids, and she has her Sunday's best on.
And she's dressed like a Duggar.
yes. Like seriously, it's like
the long skirt.
it's the beginning of a polygamous family, like
I mean, if they're going to repopulate, they got to start thinking about that at some point.
right, with her dark pantyhose. It's like
It's got that 80s like Sunday best dress thing where the front had these like over the shoulders had like those panels that went
Yes.
down flat, very pilgrimy.
right, but
Like
it's like
over,
a
like remember when
V-shape?
Rose wore that, and then it's
Yeah, I
like
was
a
gonna
very
say
V.
there's sort of like the darts in the
but
in
it's
the
like
shoulders.
a panel of fabric that goes over the shoulder and like drapes it.
All I keep thinking is that if that dress
Pilgrim.
was black, it would be very Klaus Nomi.
Yeah, because of the V
shape.
shape. Yeah, and the big shoulders.
Yeah. But it's just like such a hideous color too. It's like it drowns her out. She looks
Yeah.
like blah.
Yeah.
She might as well be wearing a hat, like like a polka dot hat on top. Like then the kids are all done up, and then Hector's in a suit, and it's
my
like
God.
where are
Where are
they
they
going?
going?
Yes,
Yeah.
like, where are they going? Like
To go find
Are they
an
just
empty
gonna
house.
go? Are they just gonna go sit in the LA Cathedral?
That's where I would go. I would
just
go
for-
to the new cathedral.
and no one has had
about
anything to eat in this film.
True, very true. They haven't eaten. Well, Sam had a bowl of cereal.
You
right?
don't even
yeah.
see them.
Right.
You don't even see them like break into like a. I mean, a grocery
7-Eleven,
store.
yeah.
You would think that you would get like.
Chips, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
in all of these types of movies, like 28 Days Later, you
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
see them break into a grocery store.
I would
and go
think Sam
shopping.
would be like, "Let's go get some Twizzlers
Yeah,
or like
yeah.
M&Ms," like
Yeah,
like non-specific chocolate because they
they
don't
can't.
have the
Yeah.
budget. Like,
Well, and also they kind of make a point in this movie to tell you that the power's still on.
yes,
So they could go to a 7-Eleven
Yeah.
or a grocery store and get like a cold soda or a big gulp or
like
a
missed
Slurpee or
opportunities
something.
for scenes like that of just
Yeah.
going to a convenience store.
yeah,
Yeah.
or like going to like a restaurant and making their own food. Like that would have been
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
That's why when we're saying like where are they going, like are they gonna go to like the local IHOP or Denny's or hole in the wall diner and
Yeah,
make their
yeah.
own food? Like
I mean,
like
yeah.
and then why is Sam wearing her like "Let's go to Hawaii" outfit?
Yes, she's in like a bathing suit and a sarong, like
Her
what is
jet setter outfit. Yeah.
Like, what is up with that outfit and her that plastic purse that was so popular in the 80s?
Yeah.
Like-
Well, we also have to say that the very next day it rains, like it's just a light sprinkle.
Oh, right, and it clears up
It
everything.
clears up the red sky at night. Sailor's delight.
And it
clears
wasn't
it all
acid
up.
rain.
Yeah, yeah. Clears up all the dust of the bodies.
Right,
gone.
down the drain.
Yeah, and now
We
it's a
see it
beautiful, sunny '80s LA day.
And so who's picking up all the clothes?
Right? It's just
Yeah.
all the dust is washing away. The clothes are still sitting there.
But yeah, and like, where was she planning to go in that outfit? Like, for real? Is she
Because
going to a rooftop pool?
Because she wasn't going to go with them. It looked like she was. They were across the street from each other.
Right.
So yeah, what was her plan?
And if she was going with them, why is she wearing that? Because she's not dressed for the
She's
same.
quite a
To the
she's-
same party they're going.
She's pretty far from the beach.
Yes.
She's gonna have to. I mean, she could just pick up a car,
Just steal a car.
Yeah.
just drive there. Yep.
I'm sure there's a bunch of keys all
Because
over the floor.
It's 1984. The standard is not there yet.
That's what I'm saying.
There's
What
no
rooftop
rooftop
pool is she
pools.
going to?
The ace wouldn't be flipped for
know.
a matter of decades.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden we get this young guy who's also apparently in high school.
I guess. But I do love the joke, though. It is a good joke where she's like, they're calling her to come over across the street.
Right.
And she goes to cross the street, and Reg is like, well, you can't cross. It's red. And she's like, we're literally the last people.
Yeah.
Steps into the street, boom, car.
Yeah, and then it's funny to me that the car is coming one way, but then when he decides to pick her up, he
turns around.
He does
Yeah.
a U-turn and goes the other way.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, what?
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess
But
maybe he's taking her to the beach. I don't know.
I love Sam's reaction, too. She's just like, nice car.
Right.
Like, who the fuck are you? Where did you come from? Are there more of you? What's going on?
Right.
She's just like, nice car. He's like, oh, you like it? I got 10.
Yeah, and
I stole an entire car dealership.
yeah, and then she just hops in the car and is like, "Fuck it, like
Yeah.
last man on earth. I'm gonna ride this thing," you know, like. And then we find out who DMK is.
I mean, that's him. He's got the vanity plate. Well, although that's the other thing too. Did he steal this car?
Oh,
Sure, he said that
right.
He
said
stole
got.
it.
He said he's got 10.
I mean, I take it.
Which
that he-
the implication is like,
I didn't even think
grabbed a
about
bunch of
that.
them.
I mean, they probably didn't even think about.
No,
that
they
either.
didn't think about that either.
They
Yeah,
were just
yeah.
like, "This is DMK."
He's DMK. But also in the grand scheme of the movie, like it doesn't even matter.
No.
They don't even cut away to Reg going, DMK.
Right,
it's
right,
you."
right.
You know, it's not even acknowledged. So I think it's just like, oh, you know, it'd be funny. Like, let's make the license plate
for the people that were
Yeah.
really paying attention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It wasn't even like, I don't think it really, it really mattered at the end of the day. It's a
So,
funny little thing.
so Reg is just dropping out of high school and becoming a stay-at-home mom.
I mean, I get,
With
yeah,
Hector.
with
Yeah.
Hector, however old Hector is.
Yeah, we don't know
We don't know.
Hector's age,
We don't know.
but we do know Reg is 18.
Yes.
So she's barely legal.
Yeah. They did make several kind of like allusions to like, well, he's not my type, but
Right.
and
I
it's
think
like,
Hector is all of our types.
the last man on earth.
The last man on earth.
So, yeah, I mean, the other thing too is that like this movie stays in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So we don't know if there's survivors anywhere else in the United States, let alone the world.
And
Yeah.
I'm assuming that there is, just because
Right.
we got those kids.
Yeah.
The scientists, I think, may have alluded to other people being alive. So,
But also very interesting that the scientists were in Southern California as well, you know?
Right. Out in the
Like,
desert somewhere.
Yeah, is their contingent have branches in other
Oh, yeah.
states?
Yeah,
You know, like,
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's like, because we don't really know how the weird zombie people only got half affected, but also if those two dum-dums just kind of stumbled into some steel-lined room,
Right.
how many other people, you know, were doing the same
Totally.
thing? Yeah.
totally.
Like the stock boys. They just turned out to be evil,
yeah.
but they were dressed cool.
yes.
They just
Kind of
wanted,
cute.
They're kind of cute. They just wanted their privacy and their little like
They didn't want anyone
Department
to
store.
steal their shit.
Their fur
Yeah, they had
coats.
guns too, though.
They did.
Did this department store sell guns?
Maybe.
Well,
You
I mean,
know, 80s
it's like
was a wild
Walmart.
time.
80s used to sell. I mean,
Walmart sells guns.
Night of the
Yeah,
Living
still.
Dead, or not Night of the Living Dead. Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead.
There's like you can go buy guns in that movie in the mall.
Yeah, that mall has a whole gun store.
That mall has like a skating rink in it.
Yeah. That mall had everything. That was a Midwest mall, though.
Yeah.
We don't get that kind of shit.
I don't
now.
think I ever saw a gun store growing up, or a
Yeah.
store that sold guns.
No.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Like a good sporting goods store.
Oh, like
Just
Yeah,
to
I
go,
get-
just
yeah,
to
I
go
guess
buy like
sport.
hunting
Like a Big
rifles or
Five or
something.
something.
But
I
like,
want to
yeah,
say
Big
that
Fives don't even
I
sell
want to
that,
say
yeah.
that in Great Falls, Montana, the big city, about 100 miles away, the sporting goods store was connected to the mall, so you technically
Okay.
could have bought a gun at the mall.
All right.
That's
Yep.
scary.
Yikes. Well, those people are a little bit more responsible. Like LA doesn't need to have a gun store in the mall. But yeah, there were semi-automatic weapons throughout this movie. I liked.
I'm impressed that Sam knows how to shoot it.
Well, that was
Right.
her learning. That
Yep.
was the whole. I was gonna say I
Uzi.
like that scene of her like trying to shoot this gun and it jams on her. And
I
she's
mean,
like,
it's pretty
"God
much
damn
like
it."
whenever you look up an image of this actress, it's that scene of the movie.
holding.
Yeah.
yeah,
Is her holding the gun, shooting the car.
yeah.
Yeah, and then Sam like covering her ear or whatever.
Yeah. It's a pretty good visual though.
It
Because
is.
she's still in the cheerleader.
Yes.
She's still in the cheerleader uniform. So just
Yes.
like holding that gun, you're just like, all right, okay, with like the buildings behind her and everything.
Downtown.
Yeah.
Downtown.
But yeah, sort of the this movie kind of being reassessed in like the last 10 years of people that grew up on this movie that kind of start to track it down more.
Yeah.
The big reissue from Shout Factory, I think, was a pretty big seller for them. I think I want to say that Jeffrey Mix from Shout Factory, when he came into TJ, said it was one of their first big titles that they
Yeah.
ever did.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and he also mentioned that the two main leads do a lot of appearances
Yeah.
for the screenings around the states or whatever.
Oh, that's good.
And speaking of screenings,
Yes.
Yes, we should talk about that.
yes,
This is exciting. I mean, this is one of the first big movies that we will be hosting a screening with Rudy.
Yeah,
We're
I
going to
love
be
that.
watching Night of the Comet.
yes, and you can come join us. We will be screening this on October 30th at Whammy Analog Media. You can find them on Instagram,
And they're in Silver Lake, right?
Yeah, it's the border of Silver Lake and Echo Park.
Okay.
It's off Sunset. The address is on Sunset, but you enter on Rampart behind the building. And it's a VHS shop
Love
and
it.
micro cinema.
Love it.
And I've been doing a screening series there for maybe half a year, a little over half a year. And so, yeah, y'all will be joining me. We'll be screening the film, and then we're going to do a little Q&A with the audience and obviously talk about the film, but then also if the audience have questions for y'all about your podcast and movies in general. If you always wanted to see Scott and Pete in person.
Yeah. I mean, it's not quite a
Behind the
live
curtain.
episode per se, even though I want to see if we can possibly try to record
Yeah, we'll record it.
the Q&A. I think we can figure out something
Yeah.
like that
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
issue it out as a bonus episode, but I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's going to be lots of fun. Yeah, if you live in the greater Los Angeles area, you should come on down. It's going to be a fun time. And yeah, every now and then when we talk to guests, if we meet people or talk to listeners, if we meet people in person, or if we have people on as guests, we get that whole like, oh, it's so crazy seeing you guys talk. I'm just used to listening to you. And I'm thinking like, I used to think that about like Kevin and Bean.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then
yeah,
I'd see
yeah.
them on the news and be like, oh no,
No.
we both have face made for podcasting.
Speak for yourself.
Tickets are will be on sale by the time this is on, and you can get them at Whammy. Their Instagram. Let me just make sure.
Yeah.
I have the correct info. Give me 1 second. It's a really cool space. I've hosted some really fun screenings already. I did Whatever Happened to Susan Jane in Times Square.
Cool.
Times Square was really fun.
Times Square. We love Times Square.
Square is amazing.
Yeah, and I did a hardcore Latino punk documentary with my friend Martin, and we ended up doing 3 sold-out nights of that. Which was crazy.
That's awesome.
So yeah, their Instagram is Whammy Analog Media, and then there's a link there. Their website is whammyanalog.com, which you can just go there and purchase tickets for the screening, and you should check out their programming. There's a lot of fun stuff happening there all the time, mostly film, occasionally comedy, and they've been having some surprise guests and surprise hosts. Quentin Tarantino hosted something recently. I will be doing something very exciting in November, I believe, which I can't talk about, but it'll be fun.
Cool. Yeah, and we will post links to everything.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
On our Instagram for the main image for this episode. Listeners, if you go to that on our Instagram, we'll have links to
we'll probably put it in the show description.
And in the show description as well on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts. Just through your app where you're listening, so you can get links to all that to get tickets.
It's going to be a fun way to end this month, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're programming kind of some bangers this month. A lot of movies that we have been waiting to do since we started the podcast.
Yeah.
Of just movies that everybody has kind of wondered why we haven't gotten to certain movies. It's because sometimes you have to hold the big ones.
Sometimes we want them for a really good guest. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We hope to see you there if you can make it, and if not, I'm sure we're going to be able to get that out there.
Yeah.
Like you said, as a
Rudy,
bonus
thank you
episode
so much for coming
this has
back.
been a lot of fun.
A good start to our October lineup with this movie.
Yes.
What are kind of some of your favorite movies to watch in October? Do you always have movies that you return to? Do you try to watch stuff that's new? Go back to old favorites? Like, what is your ideal,
Okay, I'm a total
October?
nerd, but I have to watch one horror thriller film every day in October.
I try
Scott
to.
does that.
I try to do it.
I try to do it too, and I'll double up on days sometimes
Same.
if I can. And I started doing that when I worked at a video store, and I would every shift I'd go in during October, I would watch horror films. But I mean, I always have to watch Halloween. The first one.
Oh, I've watched Halloween twice in the past 3 months.
Yeah.
And it's not even October yet.
Yeah. There's always a slew of new movies that there's movies that I've seen on all the streaming platforms where I'm like, I have to hold off till October. So So I have things to watch. You know? But I always like to have a fun, campy horror film. I also like classics like the original Black Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm open to like a lot of new stuff, but sometimes I get so disappointed where I'm with the new stuff where I'm halfway in and I'm like, am I gonna finish this?
Am I just
I
gonna turn it
have
off?
to finish this. But I don't know. What I haven't seen in forever, and the other day I was thinking about it, was Stephen King's Sleepwalkers.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I think I might revisit that.
Stephen King's Sleepwalkers, I also confused with another movie from the 90s. I think it was made for TV about wild cats and a house being taken over by, a farmhouse being taken over by wild cats.
That is a different movie.
That is a different movie.
Yeah.
But I always assumed that it was Sleepwalkers when I would go to the video store.
I always have to watch Scream.
Oh, yeah.
There's, a lot of early, Last House on the Left.
Yeah.
A lot of cult classic type stuff. But I don't know. Those are some of my faves. Trying to think. I know, I'm blanking right now, but horror is one of the genres that I do like to watch a lot of.
Same for us. I mean, that's the thing too. It's it doesn't have to be October for us to watch horror movies.
Right,
so it's just we just watched Poltergeist. Oh, we just watched Halloween. We're just constantly watching these movies throughout the year.
Same for me, but it's just over the last couple of weeks, I've just been oh, I'm going to wait on this one.
Do you have
Yeah.
a movie that you watch every Halloween? Because I kind of do.
Like Halloween Day?
I always try to watch John Carpenter's Halloween.
Right.
I will usually just put on Scream in the background when I'm doing stuff.
Right.
But I also love to return to John Carpenter's The Fog. That's
Oh.
one of my favorite
love The
movies to
Fog.
watch on Halloween.
You love The Fog.
I don't know why.
Interesting.
I should
Yeah.
save it for the date
It's
of.
the big-
I should save it for the date that they actually drop in the movie. It's in April.
Oh, okay.
Of the day that Antonio Bay was founded.
But The Fog
Yeah.
is his big follow-up to Halloween, so it's like...
I
yeah,
haven't
it makes
watched I Know What You Did Last Summer in years, so I might revisit that.
Good
That
4th
one's
of July
fun,
movie.
yeah.
I tried to watch the TV series.
sense. Oh, we
It
never
did-
got
we
around
didn't
to
even
it.
start it.
I think I
Yeah.
only got like 2 episodes in, and then I gave up.
Okay.
I mean, we gave the Scream TV
Yeah, I was
show
gonna say,
a good
we
try. We
gave
watched
it a
the
couple.
first season of it.
I tried to watch that, and I couldn't do it either.
It's fine.
But yes, yeah, I'm excited. October. I feel like this year I bought so many decorations for my house and
Ooh.
stuff, which I haven't done in a while.
Yeah.
I just wasn't feeling Halloween. I think I might dress up for work this year.
Nice.
Oh, I have Halloween off this year because my sister's coming into town.
Yeah, I'll be
Mm-hmm.
there. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe this year I'll be fun at work.
we got to get our costume situation straightened out.
My sister was trying to
clock
plan
is ticking.
My sister is trying to plan a group costume, and I'm just like, I don't think. It's
I
gonna
always
happen,
feel like
Nicole.
people need to be
If she can make it.
like group costumes. I'm always trying to convince people to do Children of the Corn.
Children of the Corn would be a good one. Yep.
You know, like someone needs to be Malachi, and then just all the other. That's a good movie. Oh man, we should do Children of the Corn.
Linda Hamilton. get
That
outta
movie
here.
scared the shit out of me as a child, and I used to watch it by myself
Oh,
at night,
man.
and then have to stop it, because it was so scary.
Children of the
thought-
Corn was one of those movies that I did not watch until I was an adult,
And
just
so it wasn't
because
scary.
there was just something about that video box looking
Yeah.
at it that I'm just like,
Too scary.
I don't think I can handle this movie.
Yeah. I mean, no, as a child, it freaked the when they're playing. Yeah, sorry. Okay,
Yeah. No,
Children of the
no,
Corn.
it's
That's
okay.
a good one
Yeah.
to revisit. The first part, all
we
the
haven't
other ones are
watched it.
garbage.
We haven't watched in a while the original Children of the Corn, so we gotta figure out a time for that one. We'll squeeze it in this Halloween season.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got plenty of movies to watch. I mean, always the classics, but I'm always down to rewatch a movie that I've seen a million times.
Oh, of course.
know?
Are you guys looking forward to Hocus Pocus too?
Of course, we will watch it. I have a feeling it's going to be one of those movies that we'll watch once and then we will never watch it again.
Can I confess something?
Yeah, of
You don't
course.
like Hocus Pocus.
I barely watched it last year for the first time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you would have been older when it came out. Like, that would have been like a children's movie.
Oh my God, you know what's so bad about this, 30 days of Halloween or 31 days? Last year I watched Halloween Time or whatever.
Halloween Town? Oh.
Yes.
Oh, I
Alright, we
watched it.
tried,
I watched
yeah.
it last year for the first
Yeah.
time too.
I watched 2 of them, and then I watched Twitches.
Oh God.
The Tia and Tamara Witches.
Oh man. Wow.
I was kinda
you were looking for content
Yeah.
there.
Well, I
You
was
were
trying to
reaching.
look at the Disney
Yeah.
stuff.
They've got some weird quote unquote scary movies.
I was.
We really
so
tried
I
with
did not.
Halloween
I was
Town.
probably a little older when Halloween Town came out, so I did
Yeah.
not watch it on the Disney Channel. But when we watched it last year, kind of bored.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really have the patience for it.
Yeah, and I saw that the 2 stars of it did some
Yeah.
TikToks recently where they're dressed like they were, and they're
yeah.
The girl from Tumbleweeds.
Did they get married
Yeah.
or something? Or is that somebody else?
They got married?
I don't know. So
I don't
somebody
even know
from
who
a
they are.
Disney Kids
I
thing.
said that all
Like,
excited.
oh,
I
what?
don't
My
even-
dreams have come true.
right.
I do think that what Hocus Pocus has going for it, as opposed to the complete garbage that is Halloween Town, is that Hocus Pocus, at least for me, it's it's a movie.
Yeah.
It's a real
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Debbie Reynolds, God love you, but Halloween Town looks like some
It's a made-for-TV
made
movie.
for TV, Holly Hobby,
It's-
Holly Lolly.
It's the direction that Hocus Pocus could have gone if
Exactly.
it was because that
If
was
Bet
originally
said- if Bet
that
said
was
no.
originally intended to be a
Yeah.
made for TV Disney
if Bette
Channel
Midler
movie.
was like, pass, then it would have been, like Charlotte Rae and like,
Oh my god!
I don't even know who else.
Charlotte Rae and Cloris Leachman,
Cindy Williams
reunite.
or something like as Mary, but yeah, or a Cloris Leachman and Charlotte Rae reunion, which I would pay to see. But I do feel like it's got like the star power, and it looks like a movie. It looks like a theatrical So to me, I was always like, at least this is something real. And I just liked Bette Midler as a kid because I was super.
I was one of those weird kids who watched Beaches all the time as a child.
My stepmom had the Beaches soundtrack, and I pretty much stole it.
And I would watch
it was
Stella all the time. Do you remember?
Oh,
I
Stella,
just remember. I just remember seeing the movie box of Stella at the video store, and like this is an adult movie.
Stella Dallas,
Down and Out in Beverly Hills.
We are working our way through the Bette touch tone.
Ruthless
catalog.
People, Big Business, love them all. She's amazing, and so I was like, okay, Bette Midler, I can get behind this. Sarah Jessica Parker, I also loved as a kid. I loved
Square Pegs.
Well, obviously,
Square Pegs. I think Square Pegs has a really good Halloween episode.
Oh, it does have a fun Halloween
I
episode.
like to watch the Roseanne Halloween episode.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
You got to watch the one where the whole house is the haunted house, like the walkthrough.
Uh-huh. And it's like Aunt Jackie is under
the head,
and little DJ opens up the door as the ninja.
Yeah.
That's
voiceover.
That's like the best one.
Darlene is like the birds, right, or something, or is that another season?
No, she's the flight attendant.
Becky is the birds. Darlene, and that one has like a alien.
Oh, I thought that Becky. It was a last minute costume, and I thought that she was like a dead flight attendant.
She's the flight attendant because she says to the whatever.
She does the birds in another episode, another season. Yeah. Go watch Roseanne Halloween episodes, everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, this has been so much fun. I cannot wait to do our screening.
Yeah.
That's going to be great.
We'll be talking about it on throughout the month too.
Yes,
to remind
absolutely.
you if you live in LA.
If you live in LA, we'd love to see you there. But we'd love to have you on again, obviously. So we'll do this sometime in the future. If we pick another movie, maybe we'll do it for Halloween Town and hold it for next year. No, we won't.
No, we're not.
Sorry, listeners, to get your hopes up. But until then, I think it's time to bid you adieu and say goodnight. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
And thank you so much for listening, everybody.
Thanks so much. I'm so excited for this month.
Yes,
it's going to be so much fun.
We love October. We love our theme month. We love horror here. It would have been a horror podcast, but, there's plenty of those to go around. So we figured
we do it all.
1 month a year.
Interesting movie to start out on.
I've always loved this movie.
I feel like this is kind of a fun, hybrid science fiction horror comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, like I mentioned before, kind of a Christmas movie.
Yeah, it takes place. There's Christmas trees everywhere, and it's just one of those things that, if you like cult movies, you just have to see it once.
Yeah,
it's a classic cult 80s movie. I think Catherine Mary Stewart and Kelly Maroney are 80s cult movie icons. They've both been in a ton of shit, and like Rudy was saying, they do the con circuit. If you ever want to just meet them, get photos, get autographs, they're always at doing horror cons and just doing Comic-Con type events. They always have booths. Everybody that we know that do those circuits, Matt Emmert and Tim Murdoch from Happy Horror Time, and all those guys, Homeless on Haunted Hill. All those guys have pictures with Kelly Maroney.
I want to say that Happy Horror Time has done an interview with Kelly.
I think they have. Yeah. I think they actually have. So they're great, and there's plenty of content with the two of them out there talking about this movie and all the other movies they've done. But this was a really fun episode. So thanks for listening to that, everybody. But I think it is just about that time
for Patreon shout-outs.
Yay! We actually have a brand new patron.
Just signed up today.
Yeah. I was trying to triple it up like a DJ, but that's not the kind of booth I have. He just signed up today. We would love to say hey, hello to our brand new patron, Thomas. Oh, wait. Our brand new patron, Thomas. Thank you so much for being a patron, my friend, along with all of our other patrons.
Let's hear him.
Mark, Flemish Giant, Jackson, Millie, Darcy, Ted, Benny, Jermel, Melanie, Christopher, Susan, JJ, Shelby, Michael, Charlie, Muffy, Paul, Jamie, Drew, Genevieve, Dawn, Joshua, Emily, Millie, Aaron, Melinda, and Jim, Jessica, Nick, and Shannon, Christine, and Rufino. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Even that.
Man, you and that soundboard tonight.
This soundboard
it's
tonight
all over
is
the place.
not wanting to cooperate. Oh my goodness. I mean, somebody could have told me that the soundboard didn't want to cooperate.
Now a warning?
Well, you know,
And now you're just going-
it's the end of
going
the
right through 'em all.
episode, so
Do you remember where you
Sorry.
parked the car?
sorry, listeners.
We
Well,
were just saying today how we have not used the Death Becomes Her sound bites in a while.
I know I gotta throw those in a little bit more, but we'll be doing those soon. But Patreon.
If you sign up with Patreon, you will get our monthly commentary tracks. We are about to
indeed.
record a new one.
think we
will
are.
have been out by the time this episode comes out, and usually in October, like we did last year. I think we did
Spooky ooky kooky
I think we
ones?
did 3 commentary tracks in October.
Yeah, we did a lot.
It was one of those things that we're just going to be watching Scream, so we might as well just be on might as well just be on mic watching it.
Totally. So yeah, head over to patreon.com/movies that made us gay for all of the additional content that you can get from our Patreon. So thank you so much. All that donations go directly into keeping the show alive and up and running and available on the internet for you to listen to for free and ad free. I should also mention. So check that out. We'd also love it if you would rate, review, and subscribe to
Give
the
us
show.
5 stars.
Yes, indeed. Head over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and you can do a 5-star rating, and you can also write a review.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we would love it if you wrote a review. We'll read that on one of our episodes in the future.
We forgot to mention the newsletter. You'll get the newsletter, too.
Yes, indeed. That's part of the Patreon. So, do 5 stars, write a review, all that good stuff. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and follow us anywhere you listen
At
to
Movies
podcasts.
That Made Us Gay on Facebook and Instagram and on Twitter at MTMUGPod.
Yes, indeed. If you'd like to follow our personal socials, feel free to do that. My name is Pete. I am at Peter Lasagna on Instagram and Twitter.
I'm Scott Youngballer on Instagram, and follow my letterbox and see what I'm watching.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Until next week, bye-bye.
Bye.
That red skyline, though, throughout the entire movie, you're like, oh,
Do you
my God, I
remember?
can't-
Do you remember a couple years ago? I think it was I think
The
it was
fires in
2020.
LA?
Yeah.
All of the fires around LA.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the city straight up looked
orange?
like
Yeah.
Night of the Comet.
Yeah.
I remember. Do you know who we were recording with that night?
I don't.
When LA was like that, it was Dennis for our Sunset Boulevard episode.
Oh, okay.
I remember we were recording on that day of the Night of the Comet, like Scott.
Okay. Yeah, those fires, man, they'll do it too, especially out in Pasadena. It was like crazy up there. But